you all do an outstanding job. We really appreciate all the support that you give us. And, this is just a small token to try to give back a little bit to you for everything that you give to us, each and every day throughout the school year, year after year after year. So we appreciate you being here and supporting our schools and supporting our students. And, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. So we're appreciating our teachers as well this week, and we thank you for, appreciating them as we appreciate them. And, I told them this morning, I sent a message out and said, we appreciate you each and every day, but especially this week and the job that they do. And just want to say thank you again for that. And I want to thank our board members for being here today and the hard work that they put in. And we've got county commissioners here as well, and our IDB folks and BRAC and all of our business partners here as well. So we just appreciate you being here. I want to again thank Commissioner Schwinn for being here. I know she's got a heavy schedule, and now that hopefully the legislature is out, maybe we can get back to education and doing the things that we all want to do. It's a good day when the legislature adjourns. So we all look forward to that, and then we'll look forward to it starting again next year. But I would like to just introduce her and appreciate her being here. Coming from a family of educators, Dr. Schwinn is committed to increasing access to an excellent education for all children. Schwinn began her work as a high school history and economics teacher in Baltimore and as a new teacher coach in South Los Angeles. Prior to her role in Tennessee, she served as a senior leadership roles in 2 state education agencies and also served as the Assistant Superintendent of Performance Management for the Sacramento City Unified School District. She is the founder and former superintendent of Capital Collegiate Academy. At the time was one of the country's highest performing charter schools serving low-income students from a region of the city where she grew up. She also served as an elected trustee for the Sacramento County Board of Education. Dr. Schwinn earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of California, Berkeley, and her Master of Arts degree in teaching from Johns Hopkins University, as well as her PhD in education policy. So we are very, very happy to have you in Warren County and very happy to have Dr. Schwinn in Tennessee. And I'll welcome her to the podium for her comments today.
I cheat, I wear heels, so. How is everyone? Good, it's nice to see everyone. I am thrilled to be here. I also have to echo, it is Teacher Appreciation Week. Having grown up with a single parent teacher, I know just how hard and how amazing the job is. And so, who are the teachers in the room? Can you just give a little wave? Yep. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I got one over here. Thank you. It is some of the most important work that we do, and I don't think we express our gratitude enough. It makes a big difference for our students, so thank you for that. I wanted to start just by telling a little bit of a story about some of the students that I worked with in Baltimore in my first 2 years as an economics and government and history teacher, because I think that what the opportunities were for those students and where I see they are now compared to the students who did not have those opportunities tells a story about what I think the importance of the work that we're doing together, what that can actually mean. And so in Baltimore at the time, we were still doing academies for high schools. So we had a transportation academy and an arts academy, and I was in the sports academy only because I had a classroom across from the gymnasium, not because I had anything to do with sports. And I think they were like, she's tall, she might play basketball, so we'll put her in the sports academy. That was a mistake. But we, so some of our students were able to be in pathways where they got on-the-ground training for what they were interested in their careers for after they graduated. So we had students who wanted to be auto mechanics, and they actually were able to work in shop on a daily basis. They were able to go to businesses in the community and have internships to understand what would that actually look like after I graduate. They were able to have conversations at local hospitals. Johns Hopkins is a pretty big hospital in Baltimore. And so our kids who were in the health and sciences academy, they were able to go to Johns Hopkins and shadow doctors and nurses. They were able to do some light practice, literally mimicking what was happening in a waiting room or procedure room. They weren't actually treating patients, but if someone was stitching up someone in the ER, they were literally doing the same thing. And when I look at those students who I had the privilege of teaching and what they are doing now, they are nurses, and one is a doctor, we have auto mechanics, and I have someone who's in sports medicine. And when I Facebook with them, which is what they're like, oh, you're so old, Miss Lee. I was like, it's Miss Schwinn now, and yes, I am, compared to you. But they talked about their experiences in high school, and they talked mostly about the opportunities that they had in high school to practice what they wanted to do. And a couple said, you know what, after going to the hospital, I really hated it. Like, I got really nauseous in the ER, or I just started crying all the time because all these kids were hurt, and that just made me feel bad. So I went into social work, and I was like, yes, that's right. These are some of the things that we would want for our students, so that they get the experience and the opportunities, and then they know what they want to do after they graduate, and they're making very purposeful decisions. And then I had a group of students who didn't have those opportunities. So students who were in the arts and humanities pathway, it was essentially a non-traditional focus in a very traditional way. So it was, you took your 4 cores, you took a foreign language, and then you had PE every year. And that was it for high school. There was no career exploration. There were no internships or work-based learning. There was no opportunity for those children to have any idea about what they wanted to do. It was essentially what they saw on TV. So everyone wanted to be a detective like Olivia Benson on SVU, or they wanted to do some kind of CSI, was really big at the time, or they wanted to do something that wasn't like a real job. So I want to star on Desperate Housewives, and it was like, great, you want to go into acting? No, I just want to be a Desperate Housewife. And I was like, well, it's not a job. So no, we're gonna redirect. But those are the things I could actually see the difference. And when I look at those students now, as a totally qualitative anecdotal example, the students who didn't have that kind of coaching and support, the kind of advising that it takes, they really struggled. They had lower graduation rates from 2- and 4-year colleges and technical academies than the students who had opportunities. They were students who said, you know what, I finally figured out what I wanted to do. I'm 27 years old and I'm going back to school. Or, you know what, I was just kind of forced in this direction because someone told me that was what I was supposed to do, and I really hate it and I'm unhappy. And again, that's not a universal statement of every student who does or does not have opportunities, but it is a statement about how important it is that we provide those opportunities to students whenever they need it and however they need it in high school and even back into middle school and elementary school. The only other example I would give is my cousin AJ and my cousin Sarah. And I'll talk about them a little bit at the very end, but I think so often we consider about our students and their pathways in the aggregate, and we think about it as whole schools or whole districts, and at the end of the day, it's personal. It's about our community, and it's about the jobs that are available in our community, the jobs that will be available in other communities, and how we support our kids to be successful in the future. And so it is a very personal set of work for me when I think about my own cousins and my own family. But for today, I want to talk a little bit about some things that I'm really excited about. So Governor Lee, he had the GIVE initiative, and that underscores how committed he is and the state is to ensuring that all of our students have these kinds of opportunities, and also to ensure their personal and their economic success after they graduate from high school. And we also know, just in traveling the state, so I've had the opportunity to be in each of the 3 grand divisions over the last 92 days that I've been in the state. And what's been fascinating is what students are saying. And my favorite part of a school visit is seeing students in classrooms and then having the opportunity to do focus groups with them outside. And whether it's 5 students, 10 students, or 20 students, they get to talk to me and they get to talk to their principals and their superintendents about what they want for their education. And what they are saying is, I want more opportunities to do career exploration earlier than 9th grade, because by then I'm in a pathway and it might not be something I'm really interested in. I want to be able to know all the different jobs. So when I go into health science, I don't think it's just a doctor or just a nurse. I understand that there's lots of different options for me if I like science. I want to understand how the classes that I'm taking in high school actually connect to what I want to do after high school. And so if I want to be an astrophysicist, which is a young gentleman in Chattanooga, that is his dream as a freshman, and I said, good for you. That is amazing. He doesn't know why he has to take 4 years of English language arts. And so the fact that we haven't made those connections about what does it mean, what does a college diploma mean? What does it mean to be ready for the workforce when we graduate our seniors? That has to matter, and it has to mean something. We have to have a shared and common belief about that as a state. What I'm hearing from different organizations, companies, businesses when I'm meeting with them to say, hey, what are you getting from our graduates and how does that drive back what we should be doing? I'm hearing the following things. I'm hearing not all of our students are coming to work with the soft skills that they need in order to be successful. Things like looking people in the eye when you have a conversation. I'm working on that with my 7-year-old. It's a disaster, but we're gonna keep chugging on it. How do you provide good customer service? Even things where it's like whether or not you're responsible for answering the phone, when you answer the phone, how do you think about the end user? How do you develop systems and processes and products that benefit who your ultimate customer is? And that customer might be the student sitting in front of you in the classroom, it might be the patient in the waiting room, or it might be someone who wants to buy a lunch from you at your restaurant. How do we think about just coming to work on time? That seems to be a big one too. So it's the little things and it's the big things. How do we think critically? How do we make sure that our children are innovative and trying to create solutions for themselves? I'm also hearing that our students aren't necessarily coming and showing up with goals. Their goal is, I need to get a job because I've been told I need to get a job. Either my parents said, you gotta get a job, or I just know that that's the next step after high school or after college. But when you say, well, what is it that you wanna do? What is it you wanna accomplish with what you do in your life, in your work? That actually isn't there. We haven't necessarily, in all of our cases, talked to our students about their long-term career goals and objectives. What's gonna make them happy? What's gonna help them to support a family? What are the things they need to know, be able to do, and how to think in order to be successful in the long term? And I've heard that sometimes when they show up, they're not necessarily as eager as we might want them to be to meet performance goals that we've set. And that there's a lot of activity on our phones and not necessarily a lot of activity in the roles and responsibilities for which they were hired. Those are some of the things when I hear about or I ask for what are some of the gap analyses, what are the things we need to do better, it's that. And when I think about back to my teaching days, it's the same thing. It's students on their phones under the desk. That just translates to the workforce. And so how do we help students understand what does it mean to be a really strong contributor to be able to support your families? But we're doing a lot about it. And I know that the people in this room are doing a tremendous amount of work on this topic. When I asked for just some briefing material so I could better understand everything that's happening in this community, it was this thick. And I know that the people in this room are committed to ensuring that all of the students in this community have access to excellent opportunities and that they are ready to be successful in their roles and responsibilities and in their future jobs and careers. But there's some good statistics here. So 95% of our high schools offer career and industry experiences to students while they are still in school. And many of those programs provide an industry certification that the student can use to be immediately qualified for a job after they graduate. 94% of our high schools offer some form of dual enrollment or college level classes while students are in high school. And this month, we will have students graduating across the state of Tennessee who are graduating as high school seniors and as sophomores in college. They've taken that many credits. It's a little different than when I was in high school, for sure. The thing that you did is you did extracurricular activities, and now we're saying, well, if you want to be a mechanic, we can get you into TCAT in real time, so you can actually graduate with a job in place. In Warren County, though, there's something really special going on. Here, you're preparing students with partnerships between your schools and your business communities. There's multiple examples. I'm just going to call out 3. The Agriculture and Greenhouse Management Program is helping to fill needs in the pipeline for the nursery capital in the U.S. The partnership with Nissan and Motlow State Community College through the Automotive and Robotics Program is exceptional. I've actually heard about that in East Tennessee, copying things that are happening. Nursing education programs work closely with area long-term care facilities, and I've personally seen some pictures that have been either emailed to me or tweeted at me around students who are going and actually doing the jobs that they want to do in real time in high school. The passion that I see in those pictures and the emails I'm getting from your students directly to me saying, we wish we had more opportunities. Hey, can you get a bed? There's a mannequin name, and I don't know what the mannequin's name is, but they've named him / her, and they were saying, can we just get a couple more of those? We've actually worn this one through. So they're asking for specific things to help them with the jobs that they're passionate about. What I'm hoping is that the Governor's Give Act is going to push and expand the work of career and technical education even further. It focuses on regional partnerships, and so we'll be doing lots of very intentional grants to schools and districts to ensure that there is a strong connection between community, between the needs of the school, and between the industries that exist. Communities will have that funding, they'll have the flexibility to build the programs that best meet and reflect the local needs. And I think so often we pick between just local or international. We say we're preparing students to go and live in a global economy, Or we're saying we're preparing a student for this job in this building in this community. And we have to think differently. We have to think about how do we prepare students with the knowledge, the skills, and the mindsets to be successful wherever they choose to go after they graduate. We can't underestimate how important that local control is, and it's something that you will absolutely see from the department in terms of honoring and respecting what the priorities are in our local communities, and then trying to fund and invest in a way that's going to more effectively build up local communities in what matters. The last thing I wanted to say is that the GIVE Act also provides funding for juniors in high school, juniors and seniors in high school to utilize 4 fully funded dual enrollment credits. And it's specifically for trade and technical programs. There's lots of opportunities, and I think we either focus on college or career, and we have to understand it's both. We're preparing students for whatever it is that they want to do after they graduate from us. The last thing I wanted to say is just what can we do together and what we're hoping from the department we expand. And so I'll talk a little bit about AJ and Sarah. Those are my cousins. They're big now. But it's the idea of how their experiences in high school and what we could have done for them. So my family's from a little town in California called Gilroy. If you've been to Gilroy or heard of Gilroy, it's the garlic capital of the world. So during garlic season, it's wonderful to be there. It's very refreshing and aromatic. Everyone in my family is naturally, Miss or Mr. Garlic, and so they wear the big garlic thing, and that was Sarah and AJ's claim to fame, as they were Mr. and Mrs. Garlic senior year during the festival. And so it's this small little town, farming community. And one of the things that we really were hoping for them is they didn't really know their place. They struggled in elementary school. They definitely struggled in middle school. And then they got to high school, and there was no direction. There weren't a lot of opportunities in Gilroy. You became either a public worker, so a teacher, a nurse, a principal, police officer, firefighter, or you went into farming. And those were really the only sectors that were available in the local economy. Neither Sarah nor AJ had any interest in any of those things. They didn't really have interest in a lot of things besides their cell phones and whatever kind of parade they were going to get to be in as Mr. and Mrs. Garlic. But I think that one of the things that we had wished for is that they had opportunities to explore what would have made them more interested and excited about school. We spent a lot more time worrying that AJ was going to drop out, and he came this close to dropping out. We were more worried that Sarah was so focused on the social scene that she didn't think anything about what she wanted to do after she graduated. And then they graduated high school. As my grandfather says, by the grace of God, we got them through. And my grandfather's a nuclear engineer from GE, so you can imagine the stress he's feeling. And then they're now 28, 29 years old, and they have just figured out what they wanted to do. They never got there in high school, because what they took was they took math, and they took reading and English, and they took their 3 years of science, and they took a couple years of social studies, and no one ever asked them, including our own family, what is it that makes you happy? What are you interested in? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? And so AJ's had 6 different jobs. He's been a welder. He went into drafting. He decided that maybe for a second he wanted to be a firefighter. And he figured out he loves cosmetology. So he is a barber in San Francisco. And my grandfather's like, okay, whatever. Can you pay your bills? Are you a good productive member of society? And do you vote? Those are the things that matter to my grandfather. And Sarah wanted to be, she went through a whole bunch of different medical fields and then found out that she really hates blood. And that's a problem, as we've explained to her. And she said, well, can I be a doctor or a nurse or anything in that field without seeing blood ever? And we said, no, it usually comes with the territory. And so she said, well, I don't know what I want to be. And she still doesn't know. And she's still going through that same level of trying to do career exploration as someone who's 29 years old. And I think about all the opportunities that we could have offered her if she had half the opportunities that are offered in this community and half the opportunities that we want to offer to every single child across the state of Tennessee, regardless of whether you're in Metro or Shelby or you're in a small rural community. Every child needs to have the same access. So as a department, we're going to be expanding work-based learning opportunities. We're going to be expanding the ideas of apprenticeships. We want to make sure that students have internships in the summer. We need to be able to fund it, and we need to be able to work effectively with our business communities to know how to do it. The scariest thing that I hear from my friends who run business, and I'm like that constant irritant, it's like the fly in summer. It's just like, what about the kids? What about the kids? And they just say there are issues with insurance, and what do I do with them? They can't actually they can't do what I do in this company. So like, do they make copies? Do they make coffee? What are they doing? It's like, no, they're contributing to your business, and it is a natural sense of recruitment. Train them up. What are the skill sets? What are the mindsets? What are the different opportunities? Get access to a pool of talent on the front end and communicate very directly with your high school about what you need in order to get those students where they need to be when they graduate. The department's responsibility in that is making sure that that exists in every community across the state, and that we don't leave it just up to a small group of people to be both the school district and the teachers and sometimes the social workers and the career placement folks. There is a role for the state in that. We're going to be creating a bunch of resources to help businesses and organizations figure out how to make meaningful pathways for all kids, regardless of what community they live in, and making sure that it is specific and intentional to the ways in which you want to bring up and graduate your children. So that's a commitment that you can have from us. We got it funded during this legislative session. And I just have to say very purposefully at the end, if we look back to the back of the room and we see all of the students here, this is what we're talking about. In talking to a few of the students, maybe they want to run a business. Yeah, I know, you're looking down like I'm not going to remember. Yeah, I'm talking to you, that's right. Maybe they want to run a business. Maybe they want to be a pastry chef. Maybe they don't quite know, but they just really like culinary arts. What today shows is that we can have students who are trained and prepped and excited about their learning, practicing it in real time, getting real-time feedback, and testing out who they're going to be. There's nothing more important or purposeful than that. And so I think if we can have programs like this across sectors, across the state, I can just imagine what that means for the graduates that we have at the end of high school and the kind of state that we will be in 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. Tennessee is leading the way in this work, and I think it's our responsibility as a state to continue to invest in it. So thank you very much to those businesses and organizations who are investing in our kids, who are willing to bring more of our students in for internships and work-based learning opportunities. Thanks to the teachers, again, and the district officials who are creating those pathways and making sure that high school doesn't have to look like it did 50 years, 100 years ago, that it can look different, that kids can actually get out and do the work and not just sit in the desk and talk about it. I think that matters, and it's really important, and I'm very grateful for everything that you're doing in this community. It is an example for the rest of the state. And thank you for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Not that tall. But thank you, Commissioner Schwinn. It is now my honor, my name is Mandy Eller with the Chamber of Commerce, and it is now my honor to introduce each of the partners in education. Please feel free to hold your applause until the end. First, I'd like to recognize our system-wide partners, Bridgestone Tire Operations Americas, and starting in alphabetical order, Bobby Ray Elementary, Ben Lomond Connect, Lowe's Home Improvement, Dan's Termite and Pest Control, Cumberland Caverns, Always in Bloom, Douglas and Lanier Insurance, Westwood Church of Christ, Tree City Church, Motlow State Community College. For Centertown Elementary, Security Federal Savings Bank, Cherry Springs Nursery, Holder Realty, Warren County Lions Club. For Dibble Elementary, Fuston's Nursery, Triple C Nursery, Precision Auto Machines, All Occasions Flowers and Gifts, Locke's Green Hill Market, Outdoor Shop, Farm Credit Mid-America, Boyd & Boyd Nursery, Volunteer Pools and Service. For Eastside Elementary, Jargon Consumer Solutions, also known as Oster, Eastside Market, Bob Young Nursery, Rock Island Ladies Lions Club, OK Heating and Air Conditioning, Moore's Office Supply, Tommy Savage Nursery, Kroger, and U.S. Bank. For Hickory Creek Elementary, Urozu Automotive, First National Bank of Middle Tennessee. Irving College Elementary, Caney Fork Electric, Citizens Tri-County Bank, and Catherine Bryant. For Morrison Elementary, Bars Furniture, Regions Bank, Precision Engineering, Morrison Ruritan Club, MPC, Sullivan's Hometown Pharmacy, TOPS, and SMG. For Warren Academy, McMinnville Lawn and Garden, and Dr. Jeff McKinley. For Warren County High School, Urozu Automotive, AccuRouter Inc. For Warren County Middle School, St. Thomas River Park, Smile Doctors, Homeland Community Bank, and Papa John's Pizza. For West Elementary, Galligan and Newman, Foster & Foster Realty, Friendship Baptist Church, Dayspring Community Church, McMinnville Electric System, and Triple B Nursery. I want to say thank you to each of you for your investment in our future, investing in our children, the most important part of our future. I think Mrs. Turner said it best when she said that economic development starts with education. So thank you for improving the quality of life for these children in our community.
Thank you, Mandy, for your comments, and I want to send a big thank you again to all of our partners, everybody that's represented here in this room. Again, I don't think our partners realize the impact that you have. And in thinking of all the wonderful things that Dr. Schwinn spoke about, we have that going on here in McMinnville, Warren County. And that's just exciting for us because it means great things for our students. It means great things for our community. And with your help, we just hope to continue to expand upon all the great opportunities we have for our students because it does make a difference. Thank you all so very much. Before we close, I do also want to take just a moment to send a special thanks to all the people who helped make this day possible because this is important. This is important that we recognize you and your businesses and the impact that you have. So first of all, I will just thank Dr. Schwinn again for her taking the time to come all the way from Nashville to be here with us and for her wonderful remarks. Thank you so much. I'd also like to recognize and thank Kathy Presnell, who helped us with all the logistics of the day and the scheduling and those things. I'd like to thank Central Church of Christ. They allow us to use this wonderful facility, and it just works out great for our needs for our luncheon here. Again, it's been mentioned many times today, but I'd like to send a really big thank you to Suzanne Prater and her students and Megan Sager. I'm going to put you on the spot. Suzanne does a great job with her students, and so does Miss Sager. But Suzanne had an accident this weekend, and nonetheless, she came in yesterday with a couple of her students to prep, and then came in early this morning to prepare the wonderful meal that we had today. So she does a great job, even when she's not feeling on top of the weather. I'd like to thank the McMinnville Warren County Chamber of Commerce and their staff and our education committee for all that you do to promote education in our community. I owe a thanks to Joe Harvey for our sound setup today and our video. Also, I'd like to thank Carl Curtis and Vicki Dodd for your help today. And Paige Chastain as well. Couldn't have done it without you all. Debbie Haley for all the pre-work that goes on. Bobby Cox for always helping to secure our speaker and everything that Bobby does. And also, lastly but not least, all of our partners in education. One more time, thank you all so very much.